There was no violence in our marches. The only violence in a march we had was when a guy stabbed me.
His name has been splashed across the headlines for decades, front and center in some of the nation's fiercest debates.
Your critics might say, look, here's a person that's a flamethrower. Here's a person that's a gasoline pourer. What do you say to that?
I would say to them that it's more of one putting light on a situation than a flame.
I sat down with Reverend Al Sharpton to talk about 3.5 decades of activism and controversy, starting with a case that his critics won't let him forget.
Let's talk about Tawana Brawley.
Okay.
Because that case kind of puts you on the map. But she was lying.
The year was 1987. The 15-year-old Dutchess County girl claimed that she had been tortured and raped by 4 white men, including a county prosecutor who would eventually go on to win a defamation lawsuit. Sharpton was among those who brought Brawley's story to the world.
I believed her, as many people in the community believed her, and advocated on behalf of her. So now I'm supposed to not respond. Let's put it this way. If we have fought police brutality cases and a jury comes back and acquits the police, does that mean we were perpetrating a fraud, or does that mean we went by what we believed, the jury didn't believe the evidence was there? How does that become that we're responsible for whatever was said or was not said?
Are you saying, though, that you still believe her allegations now?
No, what I'm saying is, I'm answering your question. I'm saying that my involvement was based on what I believed to be the case. It's also interesting to me, a year after Brawley started, I stood up for 5 young men in Harlem that was accused of raping a woman in Central Park. And they called me names then. I ended up being right about that. So why do my critics talk about Brawley and don't talk about, but he was right about Central Park? I used the same procedures. I went by what I believed based on the evidence given to me.
Just years later, Sharpton would be tied to another controversy. This time on the streets of Crown Heights, where deadly riots pitted blacks against Orthodox Jews.
There are members of the Jewish community
Right.
that have not forgiven you.
Yep, and they are members of the Jewish community that work with me every day.
The riots began with 7-year-old Gavin Cato being run down by a Hasidic driver. The resulting violence included the stabbing death of visiting rabbinical student Yankel Rosenbaum.
Violence exploded as the mob spotted news vans, forcing the media inside the building.
Sharpton has been criticized for the fiery eulogy he delivered at Cato's funeral and accused of bringing outsiders into the community.
There was a state investigation, the Gigenti report. In the report, it said Al Sharpton was not there until the day after Yankel Rosenbaum was killed.
Your critics say that rather than take this situation that was volatile, clearly volatile, rather than try and calm that down, that your rhetoric only heated things up.
Maybe what I was doing is taking the anger and outrage and channeling it in a nonviolent protest like King did. What they wanted is, they didn't want peace, they wanted quiet. They want to just tell everybody to don't say anything. And I'm saying, no, they have a right to express outrage. I just want to show them how we can do it in a nonviolent way, which is what we did.
In the years since, Sharpton has been at the forefront of many fights. While his suits have gotten noticeably smaller, his platform has only grown, along with his list of very powerful friends.
How much of that old Al Sharpton, if I can phrase it that way, how much of that is still in you now?
Same fire, same beliefs. There's just a difference between how you may do things at 67 than you did at 37. That's just anybody growing up.
He says what many still misunderstand after all these years is why he fights the fights he does.
Never have there been a case that we fought that the families involved didn't come to us. I never heard of George Floyd. I never heard of Trayvon Martin. I never heard of any of them until their parents came to me. And then part of my job was to make sure everybody heard of them. So when you have critics of mine that say, well, Al Sharpton just likes publicity, that's exactly what I'm supposed to do. Nobody comes to me and asks me to keep a secret.
And I was talking with Reverend Sharpton about his evolution, and one thing that he really stressed is that his evolution has been a natural one and not some kind of a manufactured rebranding, as some contend. He says that he has changed as the country has changed, and certainly the country has changed quite a bit in 4 decades.
Yeah, and so many things that he's seen. What a tremendous interview, really.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it really is great.